As Ukraine and Russia are on the verge of a credible and lasting peace deal, concerted diplomatic efforts have taken place over the last few days, with the US and European allies working to construct a plan that commands the agreement of both sides engaged in a long, brutal and bloody conflict. Some reports today have suggested Ukraine has agreed to the framework of a settlement. For analysis on the developing situation, we were joined by the global security expert, Professor Peter Jackson. Peter, a lot of diplomatic movement over the last few days. What do you think are now, or where do you think we are now in terms of securing a peace deal in Ukraine?
Well, I think there's been a lot of talking, and that's always a good thing. The more two sides are talking that are normally on the other side of the battlefield, that's a positive. But the devil's in the detail, as it always is, and I really think that we need to learn more about what's in the kind of European-Ukrainian counter-proposal to the initial American plan and how the Russians are going to react.
And what has got them talking now to bring it this far?
Well, I think there is impetus from the Trump administration. There's pressure on both sides from the Trump administration. And I think both sides are approaching exhaustion.
Without knowing the details, as you say, what are the main sticking points? Have they been consistent throughout?
I think that it can be kind of boiled down to one point, and that is the Ukrainians are trying to preserve their sovereignty. The Russians are trying to limit or undermine Ukrainian sovereignty to make sure that if they want to move against Ukraine again, that they'll be in a much stronger position because Ukraine won't be able to count on European support, won't be able to count on American material and intelligence support.
This started out last week as an American initiative. The Europeans weren't keen on it and have brought in their own proposals. As you say, the details we aren't clear on. But does it seem to be, are they very different, or is it just a kind of adjustment to the American proposal, from what you know?
From what I know and from what I can gather, the counter-proposals, the 19-point plan as opposed to the 28-point plan, are all expressions of this absolute imperative to maintain Ukrainian sovereignty and also to keep a voice for Europe at the table. I mean, the 28-point plan was a bit ridiculous in expecting the Europeans to step in and pay for everything, but not have any say in the overall settlement.
You touched on a point there that could become crucial, the fact that whatever agreement is reached, what guarantees do we have that Russia might not at some point in the future just say, we're going for this again?
Well, a lot of the language, certainly in the initial plan, made it easy for Russia to find some kind of violation of the security arrangements that were in place and move against Ukraine again. I mean, there are all kinds of ambiguous language that professional diplomats would never, but of course this is an agreement that has been, this is not an agreement that has been negotiated by professional diplomats. And so it leaves a lot of scope for Russia to take advantage of the ambiguities in the language to move against Ukraine in the future, should it desire to do so. And
President Zelensky has spoken about going to the United States this week, Thanksgiving week and all the rest of it. What might that achieve?
Well, I suppose there is a school of thought that suggests that Donald Trump tends to agree with the last person with whom he's spoken, and Zelensky wants to be the last person before the plan is presented. But everything really depends, for me anyway, on how the Russians respond to this counter-proposal. And the Russian foreign minister has said any proposals that don't reflect the spirit and the letter of Anchorage, which is where there was a summit between Trump and Putin, will be rejected. And we don't know anything that was said at Anchorage. It seems like nothing was really accomplished or agreed there.
Peter Jackson, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.